into the first edition and episode of Rawhide's Mob, the only podcast to talk about Western New Mexico University's athletics. I'm your host, Jake Wetzel, today, and we have a very special show for you today, as we have a few guests coming on later in the show with the athletic director, Scott Noble, the head football coach, Philip Vigil, and the head volleyball coach, Holly Watts. This first episode is presented by Hatch State Line Toyota and Hatch Ford of Silver City. Today with me, I have a special guest, the athletic director of Western New Mexico, Scott Noble. How are you doing today, Scott?
Jake, I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited to be a part of the first ever podcast. So exciting times here at Western New Mexico University.
Yeah, I'm excited too, that just to be a part of it and be the voice of the first podcast ever here. So, what is new this year with WNMU Athletics?
Well, we've got a lot of things to be really proud of. And first, you know, when you talk about athletics, we've got to talk about the student athlete. And this year we have enrolled 251 student athletes, which is the largest for quite some time prior to us losing baseball. In track and field, we've had an opportunity to bring track and field back on board in our department, which we're really exciting. You know, we're trying to increase enrollment. We're trying to increase opportunities for those student athletes that need a place to go. And for us right now, track and field was the most logical pick. Anytime that you can add a sport by not hurting the sports that you already have, it helps us, of course, with our cross-country program. And being able to enhance that program with an outdoor season in the spring was just a logical pick for us, and so we're excited to announce that that sport as part of our package, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to add additional sports. So that's what's really exciting for us. We have, like I said, a number of new student athletes on our campus. COVID seems to be in its place right now, and we're moving along like we did a couple of years ago. So that's exciting as well.
All right, I was at the ceremony, so with the new softball field and everything like that. So, do you have anything to add about the new softball field being built?
You know what? Anytime you can increase your facilities, build new facilities, renovate existing facilities, all that does is that helps your recruiting base. And for us, it's been quite some time us trying to renovate facilities, build facilities. And when I came in 4.5 years ago, that was one of the things that Dr. Shepard and I talked about, was the importance of updating our facilities. It started a couple of years ago with a locker room, and then it was a couple of locker rooms, and then it was lights on the tennis courts, and then it was turf on the football field and lights on the football field, and it's just kind of progressed and kept going. And this year we're really excited about our new softball stadium, and it's going to be a $3 million project, artificial surface all the way around, new press box, seating. Our fans are going to be extremely happy with our seating. We have a couple of berms that are going to be out in the outfield, picnic areas for families. And then over in right field, we've got, or in left field, we've got something that's called the Wild Bunch area. And we're excited to unveil that here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's some exciting news. Do you have I'm going to restart this one because of just how I said it.
Okay.
So that's some exciting news to hear for the softball team. Is there any other projects you guys are working on at the moment to try to update any other facilities?
Well, the other thing that we have is we do have a Fox building renovation, and that will start at the conclusion of our fall sports seasons, where we're going to go in, we're going to spend $1 million on our weight room, and we're going to renovate the weight room, all new flooring, new windows, paint, and then of course there's going to be brand new weight room equipment for all of our sports teams. So Our new addition to the athletic department happens to be a strength coach. We call him a head sports performance coach, and James Fakema comes to us from the state of Washington. We are really excited to now have a strength coach on our staff, which we've been missing, and I know for him, in his piece of it, he's going to see great improvement in our student athletes because of finally having a strength and conditioning program, which also encompasses health, it encompasses wellness, mental health. So to have that on board within our athletic department is very important to our success.
All right, we're going to transition to another little topic here.
What we do. We are NCAA Division II. It's about our athletic experience, our athlete experience, our student experience. And for us, academics comes first. It's not just about talent. It has to be about character. It has to be about performance in the classroom as well as on the field or the court. And for us, we are moving in the right direction. When I started, we had 64 student athletes that were on the Lone Star Conference all academic group, and this year we had 94. So we're getting better and better and better. You have to have a 3.3 to be on that, and so our students are performing in the classroom, and that's very important. The next thing is we've had 6 consecutive semesters of our athletic department as a whole getting a 3.0 grade point average, and that's something that hasn't been done here, and we're very proud of our faculty. We're very proud of our student athletes who have worked very hard to achieve that, and that is also a priority for us. Retention rate is another thing that we look at in athletics. How many of those student athletes that start with us, finish with us, and then graduate with us? Right now we are at the 80th percentile in retention rate, and our graduation rate just crossed over to the 60% mark. So for us in athletics, we're moving in the right direction in that piece as well. So, you know, and this was me too when I was little. Everybody wants to play professional sports. And when I was just a little monster, I was going to play for the Los Angeles Rams and Chuck Knox. And when you grow up and you get to that level, you still have those dreams. And our student athletes have those dreams. And we're certainly not going to do anything to waver from those dreams. But over the course of those 4 years, the priority from I'm going to be an athlete first changes over those 4 years. And by the time they're seniors, it is our hope that they understand the great importance of a degree, in that that's their priority. That is the short-term goal. Finish your degree, get your degree. And that's what we preach. And it seems to be working right now, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to, wanting to be an athlete. When I was little, I always dreamed of going to Duke University and playing under Coach K on the basketball team.
Absolutely. You bet.
I think I got one more question for you today. So if somebody's considering whether it's a student, it doesn't can be a student athlete, it could be just a normal student, why should they pick WNMU over, say, a bigger school like the University of New Mexico or New Mexico State, like a Division I big school, or a smaller school in the area?
Sure. That's a really good question, because there's a couple of things that happened this year within our state legislature where all New Mexicans now have their tuition and fees paid for. So now the old advantage of we are the most affordable institution to go to is no longer available for us, because all of the state institutions in New Mexico now have free tuition and fees for those New Mexicans. The thing that we have that others don't have is we have people here that really care. And that's probably the most important thing that you can find. Yes, we are a small school. Yes, we are out in the middle of nowhere, what happens to be the Gila National Forest. It's absolutely beautiful. And being out in the middle of nowhere doesn't mean that it's a terrible place to be. It's a great place to be. If you are an outdoorsman or an outdoors person and you love to bike and fish and run and jog and hike, the outdoors, this is where you want to be. It's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful place to go to school. Class sizes are small. The instructors are going to know who you are and they're going to know your name. For us in our athletic department, we have a coaching staff that cares. And I truly believe that in our heart. We are here to help you become the person that you can become. And that's what we're founded on.
All right. I think that's all I got for you today, Scott. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day, because I know you had a 3-hour meeting this morning.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and
Well,
be the first guest on the podcast.
That's what I'm excited about is you being here with us and starting things like this up.
I'm excited to be here. It's a whole new adventure to me. I've never been this far west.
Oh, so this is a whole new thing.
Yeah, I've been in the continental U.S. before here. The farthest I'd ever been was Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, you've got a lot to see.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to just learn about this area and kind of compare it to, I guess, what I'm used to, the northeast of the U.S.
Well, that's great. Well, we're glad you're here, and good luck with your show.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this message from our Mustang Pride partner.
No matter what type of vehicle you're looking for, Hatch Toyota State Line, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram of Silver City has the vehicle that will fit you.
Back to the Mustang Podcast. I'm here with head football coach Philip Vigil. So how are you today, Coach Vigil?
Oh my God.
I know.
I'm great, man. I'm great. I can't be better, man. I got to wake up this morning. I got to do a devotion with my wife. Look at the sunrise over the mountains. After that, I get to come to practice and be around 116 guys that are working every single day to get better. I got a staff that's phenomenal. I got an administration that's phenomenal. Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I got to see the tail end of your practice today because I had to go do Dakota's job for him.
Wow, that guy's always slacking off.
He really is.
It's unbelievable. It's like, come on, man. Like, Dakota. I actually love Dakota. He does a great job.
No, he does a great job. He's just not on the podcast, so that's why we're going to make fun of him for it.
He's right here. He can hear every word.
That's the whole point.
And he can't interject. That's the best part.
He's the one that doesn't want to put on a mic and headphones to interject, so that's on him.
And you know the crazy thing is he's got a face for radio.
He does. Know? He really does.
We love you, Dakota. We love you.
Yeah, there's a reason they don't have him broadcast anything on the Lone Star.
Oh, okay. I think you're a handsome man. You're a handsome man. I don't care what anybody says.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, he has my Xbox held hostage right now, so I can't say more than that.
Uh-oh.
So, Coach View, what are you most excited for about your upcoming season this year?
I'm excited about, we've got a lot of new faces. Last year for us, getting hired on in the summer, not having a spring ball, not really having an opportunity to go and recruit and really know what we had on the team. We had one game for us as a staff to evaluate due to COVID. And so, we were coming into fall camp last year with a lot of question marks, and so I'm excited to have a year under our belt, excited to have a recruiting class under us, spring ball under us. We've got 116 guys right now on our roster. 40 of those guys are returners. So we've got a lot of new faces. We've got a lot of transfers, a lot of freshmen. And the challenge for us this fall camp has been, how do we mesh, right? How do we all get on the same page? Because it's not always the best team on Saturdays that win. It's the group of guys that know how to compete the best together, And so we're very talented, in my opinion. I think we've got some really talented football players. It's going to be about how do they mesh together? Do they trust one another? Can they go out there and do their 111th And even if they make a mistake, can they go back and do it again the next play? Can they do their 111th the next play?
Like have short-term memory.
Yeah, exactly right. Got to be able to reset. We've been doing some mental coaching. So one of my former teammates in college, Arthur Berlanga, shout out to Coach B. He's been working with our team and mental performance, and I think that's an area of the game that, to be honest with you, is untouched right now. And so he's a best-selling author and blah 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 blah. Does a great job with a bunch of different people. And one thing that he talked to our team about was winner's mindset versus an average mindset, and how do we reset? How do we have a good play and reset, go back to doing your job? How do we have a bad play and be able to reset and continue to do your job? And so I think it's been really, really good. We've had 2 sessions with him so far this fall. We're going to have 2 more before we strap it up with Adams State. And I think it's been really practical things that our guys can apply to their game and hopefully elevate their game.
So I want to kind of elaborate on the mental coaching part there. What is the importance then of mental coaching? Because like you said, it's a kind of an untouched area. Not a lot of people do it, especially I feel like they might do it at the professional level, but when you trickle down into college and high school and even middle school type stuff, it's not there at all.
Yeah, I think, I think it goes for anybody, right? Where if you're not mentally in a right spot, in the right place, it's hard for you to be at your best, and that can be in a 9-to-5 job, that can be on the basketball court or volleyball court or on the football field, and what that looks like. And so, again, it's about being able to let these guys know that that is an advantage that we can gain is being able to mentally, he talks about don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself, right? And I think, you make a bad play, it's easy to listen to yourself, right? Instead of talking to yourself and be able to reset. And so some things that we've been doing, we talk about verbal cues and we talk about physical cues. And verbal triggers and physical triggers. And what those do is you have some type of saying that if you make a mistake, that you can get yourself back into the right frame of mind. And then we also have physical triggers that it's the same thing. So, for example, if a quarterback makes a bad throw, okay, he throws an incompletion when he should have thrown to a wide open receiver for a touchdown or whatever. He's going to a couple of our guys they have towels on, right? And so they're going to wipe their hands on their towels. And not only is the physical cue or the physical trigger of that important, because now they're wiping that play away, they're getting that off of themselves and they're resetting their minds to be able to go back to the next play. And then their verbal cues could be something like whatever. I mean, really, like that was a fluke.
Yeah,
I don't throw incompletions.
Yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah, you get one of those, and I throw one of those maybe every 20 passes, and it just had to get that out.
Just having that confidence in yourself, being able to talk to yourself, and tell yourself. We watch videos of these UFC fighters, and they're getting introduced, and they're verbalizing to themselves, "I'm the best. I'm the best."
Well, yeah, you have to go in. I feel like you have to go in that. You have to go in as you're the best, or why are you out there?
Well, it's just it can give you an edge, right? If you're out there and you're playing with confidence in your ability, you're much harder to beat when you believe, right? And so that's been something that we've been talking about all fall camp is how your belief sets your potential, right? And so what you truly believe about yourself, what you truly believe about the team sets your potential. Your potential sets how hard you're going to work, and it's just a cycle, right? And then your habits set your results, and then the better results you get, the more you believe. The more you believe, the higher your potential. The higher your potential, the harder you work, right? And so having that belief system in yourself, in your teammates, and that's kind of some of the tweets I'm putting out there is I believe. Right? We got to believe. You got to believe the best for yourself. You got to believe the best in your teammates, your coaches, because it's going to give you an edge. It's going to give you an edge out there.
All right. We'll kind of transition off of that. So I guess we'll talk about camp a little bit because camp's kind of wrapping up right now. Am I right?
Yeah.
So what's been the most impressive for you just the whole team out of camp, whether it's a player or whether it's the whole team or new recruits or the coaches? What's been the most impressive out of everything?
Man, that's a good question. I've really appreciated the way that we've competed this fall camp. I think with as many new faces as you have in on offense, on defense, and special teams. I mean, we've got 4 new specialists just in special teams. We're talking about kickers, punters, long snappers. There's competition every single day. Like there's nobody on that team that walked here in fall knowing that they had a spot secured. And so I think the competition level, trying to create competition as much as we possibly can, whether it be in drill work, whether it be in offense versus defense, special teams, whatever it is, trying to create as much competition as we can. And these guys have really bought into that, and they come out to compete, and they come out to get better. And so I think that's the thing that I've been very pleased with is just their willingness to come out, even when it's practice 13 and it's pouring rain and they're doing everyday drills, the same drills that they've been doing for 12 practices. Are they able to still come out and compete? And I think that kind of goes back, ties into our process and what we talk about with process. And hopefully if you ask any one of our guys, they'll be able to tell you exactly what our process is. And it's 3 simple things. And it's 1, be present. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. 2, be intentional. You're going to be there. Football, most of our football stuff is mandatory, right? They got to be there. If they're going to be there, they might as well be intentional. And then the last one is be consistent. And if you can do those things, doesn't matter what area of life you're going to be in, you're going to be successful. Whether it's running a podcast or doing whatever Dakota does. Yeah. No one really knows what he does.
No, not really. I don't even know half the time.
But he's good at it because he shows up.
At it.
He's intentional and he's consistent, and so
he's just never around.
No, that kind of negates the show up part,
No, I show up.
He shows up, but then all of a sudden he's just gone. But he's doing something productive at least. He's just, when you need him, he's always doing something productive that he had to get done.
I love you, Dakota.
Yeah, love you too, Coach.
I do.
So then
I'm not ashamed to say I love you to another man.
No, I say it all the time. I say it all the time to my friends back home. We say it to each other all the time. It's just, that's how we grew up, and that's how it always has been for us.
Same.
So, going off that, what you just said, what identity would you like this team to have this season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I want to see guys that are gritty. They're tough when things aren't going your way. I want to see them play harder. I don't want to see them give up. I want to see them play harder. And again, I want to see a team that believes in each other, that believes in themselves, that believes in the scheme.
Believes they can win every week.
Yeah, because if you go into a game believing in yourself, believing in your teammates, it's a lot harder to lose that game. And realistically for us, we're not by even in any means a finished product, right? We still have a long ways to go. There's a lot of areas that we can still improve, but to me, I want to see a team that competes down in and down out, regardless of the score. I want to see a team that fights for each other, fights for themselves on the football field, the right way, obviously. And I want to see a team that has grit, mentally and physically tough.
So before you go into every game, do you have any pregame superstitions that you like to do just to prepare yourself game day, week before, anything like that?
I mean, in football, you're such creatures of habit, right? Like, I'm a big fan of The Office. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, everybody has those things that they do to get ready for the game, But in football, I mean, once you start game week, it's your schedule's set. You know exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, the times that you're doing it. I mean, it's you truly are a creature of habit. The structure is there. On game day, it's up to each individual to get themselves ready to rock and roll. For me, it's usually, I like to have a run before kickoff, and try to get some exercise in, and I listen to some worship music and pray, and that's about it, man.
All right, I got one more question for you today, Coach.
Okay.
So you've been in Silver City for a little bit of time now, over, about 2 years, you'd say?
No, not,
or longer?
it's been about a year and 3 months.
So a year and 3 months you've been in Silver City. What is something that you would say is kind of a must-do for somebody that's never been here if they choose to, say, visit Silver City?
Oh, man, there's Coach Noble kind of hit on the head. I mean, this is a outdoorsman's paradise. And so there's just literally thousands of miles of trails of hiking, biking, fishing, hunting. I mean, there's 3.3 million acres of wildlife, So there's a lot to do from an outdoors perspective, and we like to take advantage of those things. So we like to get out into the national forest as much as we possibly can and do that. We actually, my son's going to turn 10 in December, but we actually are going to go hunting for the first time. We've never been hunting, and growing up in Colorado, that's kind of
It's a thing in PA too. Growing up, I'm from Pennsylvania, so that's
like you do it.
Yeah, I grew up doing it until I got to varsity basketball. Then
Gotcha.
it's like considered illegal to go do by the basketball coach.
Well, we never grew up. I never grew up hunting. I had a lot of roommates that were guides and I still do it to this day. Travel all over the world to do it. And so Peyton and I, that's kind of been our thing. Is we've always liked to go fishing. And everywhere we've been, we've always taken time to go fish. And this year we drew some deer tags, so we're gonna go hunting this year. So excited about that and being out here in the Gila and being able to enjoy God's creation.
I definitely wish you luck with that.
Thank you.
It'll definitely be different than I'm used to going, and it's just a couple feet of snow, sitting there in a tree stand freezing in the middle of the Allegheny National Forest. Just sitting there in my tree stand with usually one of my buddies, and we're just like sitting there huddled together, freezing, hoping something comes our way quick so we can go back.
So was it really the basketball coach that told you no, or was it just you didn't like it?
No, I enjoyed it, but the basketball coach, he basically said that if you miss a practice for hunting, because I'm giving you purposely Monday off to go, he said if you miss Tuesday to go hunting, then you're pretty much off the team.
Wow.
If you miss any practice to go hunting, you're off the team.
My Siri on my watch didn't even like that. She was piping in there. I don't even know what she was talking about there.
I'm glad mine hasn't spoken yet. Well, I think that's all the questions I got for you
Awesome.
today, Coach. Thank you for coming in and being a guest today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate being on the first podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Go Western.
And with that, we'll be back after this quick break with volleyball coach Holly Watts.
She's the best.
We'll be right back after this message from our Mustang Pride partner. If you've ever got a hankering for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, why don't you stop on down by Denny's, as we're open 24/7, and not to mention, it's Rawhide's favorite place to eat. I'm here with head volleyball coach Holly Watts. So how are you doing today, Holly?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jake?
I'm doing pretty well. You have the Green Chili Classic coming up, so let's just hear about that.
All right. I'd love to talk about that. We're super excited that we're having 5 teams come in from out of state to join us for this tournament. I was talking to Coach Noble. He doesn't remember. No one remembers the last time that we hosted a volleyball tournament here at Western New Mexico University. And it's going to be a little bit of crazy volleyball for 3 days. So it should be fun, though.
What are your expectations then coming up for, say, this tournament and the season?
This tournament and the season, I think we're looking to be much improved. We're bringing in 5 new freshmen and a transfer, adding those to 10 returners. So we have a roster of 16, a good amount of depth in most of our positions. Watching them play in the purple and gold scrimmages and a couple of exhibition games, as well as practices day to day. I'm pretty excited about the improvements and the dynamicness of our team and the athleticism and how they like to go hard and they're scrappy and they just make it fun to play.
So after evaluating your team through camp and all the scrimmages you guys have had, is there anyone that looks like they could possibly make a big leap this year just as a player or an individual?
Well, I know we're all expecting a lot from Bria Augustine as a 5th year, also a returning all-conference player. We're expecting big things from her. I know she's kind of tired of being on the second team, the all-conference squad, and so she's wanting to prove herself a little bit more, I think, this year. It's hard to be on the first team when your team doesn't win a lot of matches. And so that's a goal of hers, and then of her teammates as well, helping her to get that, knowing that they're all a part of that. It's not just her accolades. Adding in transfer Jasmine Walker that should be helping us a lot this semester, and so that'll be nice. She has a few years to go as well. 3 years, I believe. With the COVID stuff, it's like hard to keep track of actually, but I believe she has 3 years left, and she's going to add something to our team as well.
All right. So, kind of transition from that. What is then your favorite thing about WNMU and your favorite thing about coaching here?
My favorite thing about coaching here, I know, it's small town, but this is how I grew up. I grew up in a small town. It's actually big for me as far as that goes. I've lived in bigger places since then, of course, but it's super comforting in that way that, it's kind of cool to go to the grocery store and people know who you are, and I'm like, I should know you, but I don't, so I'm going to keep that to myself. But yes, I'm the volleyball coach and that kind of stuff. Like people recognize you and that kind of thing. That's something that we always tell our student athletes, is that it's kind of a blessing and a curse to be in a small town like this, because everyone knows you and everyone knows you. So either whether you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing, people see you and people talk. And so we just try to use that as a blessing and try to be role models to people everywhere. Little girls are looking up to our student athletes, and that's pretty exciting. But then at the same time, we know they're looking up to us as coaches too.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to put it. I'm from a small town too, so I know how that is.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely bigger than the town that I grew up in. So, I guess, do you have any like pre-game superstitions you like to do before the game, week of, something like that?
We just try to get focused on ourselves a lot. So much of volleyball, volleyball itself is a high error sport. Mistakes happen all the time. That's how points are scored. And so we try to create things. But as far as superstitions, I guess I'm like Coach Behill. I'm not especially superstitious, but we do like to do things. We meet in the locker room. We try to, we watching film of the other teams. Usually the team gets together for a team meal at somebody's house. They all pitch in and cook and stuff like that, especially when we're at home. Traveling on the road, that's a whole nother beast, especially coming from Silver City to go anywhere. It's a little bit of an adventure in travel, but we just try to prepare ourselves, knowing that the other team could always put something different out there, even than what we're expecting. We like to prepare for what we're expecting, but knowing that lineups and players can be so different, we focus more on ourselves and our side of the net and the things that we can control. And so if we can limit our errors and have a good effort and be scrappy, and we can be fun, and anything can happen.
All right. Got one more question for you today. Same thing I ended with Coach Vigil. What's something that's a must-do in Silver City if you're not from the area?
If you ask my team, I think they would say something about coffee shops, because per capita, I think we have a pretty good number of coffee shops here in town, and they're big on that. I know just kind of getting out and exploring, getting up in time to see the sunrise is pretty cool, but the sunsets are amazing too. Last night there was a huge double rainbow behind my house, and I was all mesmerized and in awe out in the rain, just checking it out, and so I just think enjoying the outdoors and trying to be out there and kind of soak it up a little bit.
All right. I'd like to thank you for your time here on the podcast today.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jake.
Good luck this week with the Green Chili Classic.
All right. I appreciate that.
Some news for the Mustangs here with upcoming events. Our game on October 22nd versus Simon Fraser will now be played at Blaine High School in Blaine, Washington. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We will see you there, Mustang fans. And this week, the Mustangs are in action as they look to defend Drags Court against Cal Poly Humboldt at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to kick off the Green Chili Classic. They will also be in action on Friday for 2 games on Drags Court against Fort Lewis at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and Cal State East Bay at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And they will finish the tournament on Saturday against Holy Names at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. With that, we'd like to thank all of our guests today, Scott Noble, Philip Vigil, and Holly Watts. They were all wonderful today, and that's going to do it for the first edition of Rawhide's Mob. I'm your host, Jake Wetzel. Stay tuned next week as we have some more special guests coming in for Rawhide's Mob.